unity in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
See all the people just a baila.
Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start your day right.
Well, let's make sure that we do exactly that we get your day started in the right kind of way. And the mere that you're here already and so early tells me that we are going to make sure we start that day right with you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, neighbors in the Caribbean, friends and family who are streaming all around the globe. Thank you very much for being here, coming up, down, across, wherever you are coming from and however you get here. It's nice to know that you are here. This is New Era TT Radio, the heartbeat of the Caribbean, as we take you above and beyond. As always, I want to say much thanks to the Heavenly Father for bringing us together for another day and everything that we do. Let it be a blessing unto you, dear Father. People of yours truly, Sir Charles, and happy am I to be here with you, and of course together with my colleagues. This is our Get Up and Go. We welcome everybody to the breakfast show.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Well, for some reason, I am not. If you're hearing
your music,
I am just playing the fool because I know they always like to say I didn't turn on my mic. So I said, let me give them a little performance this morning. So good morning, and welcome to the breakfast show. The beginning of the week, close to the end of June. It's Monday, the 23rd of June, 2025. Of course, PNM elections were yesterday. So that's what we're talking about today during the next hour. We'll be speaking to various people considering, where the results are at. If the results are out yet, I don't know when they will keep us apprised of that. But certainly, welcome, and a good morning to all of our listeners and viewers wherever you are across the planet, in Trinidad and Tobago, up the Caribbean, and across wherever you are, North America, Europe, Asia, wherever you are on the planet, down under, wherever. Welcome to the breakfast show this morning. We appreciate you making us your choice. And a special good morning to my co-hosts, Wendell and Sir Charles. And my apologies for missing the call this morning, guys.
That's quite all right. Your apology accepted.
I'm now hearing you guys. I was hearing you all before, you know.
Richard was playing the fool, Sir Charles.
Maybe.
he started off by saying that. You missed that part. He was playing the fool.
No, but I didn't even hear the song. It didn't come through.
No, we were hearing the song.
No, not that. When he comes in with the breakfast show song, I didn't get that today.
Oh no, he didn't play that.
The breakfast show?
He didn't do the breakfast show jingle.
Of course I did.
Yeah, he did. I was seeing the breakfast show jingle, but I wasn't hearing it.
Okay. No, well,
and that had me one.
You didn't hear it, Wendell?
I don't know what I was doing at the time. I think I might have left to go.
Nah.
I did not
austerity.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show, energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make.
Oh, you heard it?
Well, there we go.
Okay. So see?
That's my
Yeah.
cue. That's my cue. That's my
Yeah,
cue.
I
to
did
take
play
What
it.
is that? I did not hear that. I don't know what it is, Richard did.
I just clicked it like what I just clicked. See if I can't judge from the two earlier because it's from our listeners. We have to really judge that they heard the breakfast song because everybody knows that this is what I'm dealing with. So, maybe the listeners and viewers are the ones who should say whether they heard the breakfast song or not.
I'm sure they
Not the
did.
two of all here.
I'm sure they did. I know
Because it played, I was dancing and I was just like how I just played it again.
Okay, it's quite possible. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
doubt.
well, I was listening and I started to check all kind of things here. I said, well, what's going on here? The thing was working good.
Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Richard Raghubasin. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. It's a beautiful Monday morning. I haven't even looked outside. I had one of those nights that I just because it was such a long weekend, I took off all my alarms. So I jumped up this morning around 3 a.m. and saying, oh, did I miss the show? And then I realized it was only 3:11 actually a.m. And then I put back on my alarms because otherwise I probably would have slept through the show, because I had my sister's birthday was yesterday. Happy belated birthday to, she's the eldest in the family now, because the older ones have all passed. Wendy, she retired as a teacher from being a teacher she must be a teacher about 40 years. She was 70 years old yesterday, 10. So belated birthday greetings to my sister Wendy. She had a nice little party lime, whatever they want to call it, at her home yesterday, where some former students spoke, and I was so impressed by what they said about her because she's like a matriarch, of course, in the La Hoqueta area. She helps everybody, so she's such a gem. So happy belated birthday to my sister Wendy.
Happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to her from the breakfast show.
Happy birthday, Wendy.
Yeah, man. And today, of course, is my brother-in-law's birthday, Roger, who was there, Roger Viveg. He was there also yesterday. He is celebrating his birthday today.
Well, happy birthday to him.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention on Wednesday that Thursday was my sister's wedding anniversary.
She's
to
a June bride.
To her husband, Ron, my brother-in-law. 32 years.
Oh.
Isn't that an achievement? So I remembered. Well, Google always reminds me. Thank you, Google. But I did remember, courtesy of my phone. So I did speak with her on that day and stuff.
All right.
I said I forgot to mention it on radio that it was your anniversary, to wish you a happy anniversary, because sometimes she does listen to the show. Okay. So happy belated anniversary to Nyla and Ron.
Well, one of our ardent fans, he is also celebrating, he and his wife, that is, they're also celebrating 45 years anniversary. That's Gregory Boyer from Bow Wow.
Oh, okay.
Gregory and his wife, they're celebrating 45 years.
Gregory, that's a stretch.
What? And look now, is that nobody married?
That is love. That is love.
Gregory, I'm sure Gregory is such a wonderful individual,
His wife is wonderful too.
Of course, I know they both are.
Is he our ticket for you?
You're cushioning him.
45 years. Well done, Gregory. And
that's great.
I always forget his wife's name. Why? I don't want to call her wrong name because I might get him in more trouble. But
that would be just the
But Mr. and Mrs. Boyer from Bow Wow Supplies, Pet Supplies.
Yeah, Bow Wow Pet Supplies in Trinity.
Yes. They are celebrating 45 years together. And if anybody else celebrating an anniversary or birthday, feel free to message us and we will do the chat. We will read it in the chat when we have the opportunity. That's what we do here. We like celebrations. We love celebrations. You understand? And that's what we did. That's what I did most of the weekend, actually. Just celebrating with people, you know. Who else is celebrating a birthday today? Let me just make sure and get that while Richard pull up the.
Yeah, well, why you do all of that?
While I pull up
Terry Ann did not hear the song. Richard?
Who?
Terry Ann did not hear the song.
Yeah, but there are many people in
And
the stream that are saying they
this
did hear it, Sir Charles. So don't come at your snarkiness this morning. Plenty of them in the stream saying yes, they did hear it. Okay? So watch it.
At the end of this at the end of this day, I will definitely have to listen back to this first part of the show.
Some say they didn't hear it because maybe they were sleeping. But like Alistair saying, yes, it did play. Yes, he did the morning oil. People say, yes, it played previously. Some didn't hear it because maybe they joined late. But there are those who were here saying, yes, it did play previously. So I don't know what's wrong with your system. I don't know what's wrong with Wendell ears.
When the answer I heard it the first time.
Exactly. Coming with the snarkiness to prove that I am wrong. You have to prove that I was wrong, but I am not wrong.
Yes, I have to prove that you're wrong. Somewhere along there's something went on. You understand? And we have to find out.
Something DL said he I don't know if it's a he or she, you know, heard it twice via YouTube. Finbar Collins said he did not hear it. So apparently some people heard it and some people didn't. Maybe it depends on where they were listening. The device, whatever. Finbar said was listening.
I don't know what it is, but it was crazy because, as I said, after I crossed you, I saw the thing playing, you know, but I wasn't hearing anything. And after when you guys went in, I don't know if you heard me. I was saying to you guys, I'm not hearing you all.
No, we were hearing your music. You were still playing. We heard you still playing the music.
Yes,
yeah, because
I heard that.
I didn't want to leave dead air because I wasn't hearing you all, and I didn't want to leave the
no, I was playing the fool at that point when I wasn't speaking.
Oh.
I was anyway.
All right.
Kathleen and Gregory, all right? So Kathleen and Gregory, boy. Thanks, Gregory, for messaging the chat. Kathleen and Gregory, boy. You saved me some embarrassment. Anyway, do you have good news, sir?
Of course, I have good news.
Now, can you do that and let everybody hear it and see it this time?
Yes, I'm going to do good news.
Let's test
and
it.
Of course, the two grumpy old men have
Let's
defective
test
equipment. But this is a celebration that took place on Nelson Island for Indian Arrival Day, and I just thought it was some good news. Put a smile on your face.
All right.
I will cross any ocean to find it. Won't let no mountain get in the way. Hey. Come cross the water, been through the fire. I know that my heart will show me the way. Everywhere you turn, you see people smiling. We don't see no creed and race. Don't want nobody tell me about leaving. Don't want nobody tell me about leaving.
Yeah, so
What was the significance of it?
that was Indian Arrival Day
Okay,
celebrations. Yeah, which
All
I
right.
just said. All the real not here this morning, boy. Oh Lord Jesus is going to be that kind of day. Help me through it.
So what the question I really want to ask is, what is the connection between Nelson Island and Indian Island? Is that where they first came?
Maybe it was that where the first ship landed. I don't know.
Okay.
Or they just choose to have it there.
Okay. All right.
So that was some Indian Arrival Day celebrations on Nelson Island, and so I just thought it was a nice thing to play for good news this morning.
But I love to hear Tassa. I love to hear Tassa, right?
The diversity treaty that was our good news. I trust you all heard it.
All right. So let's greet all our people in the chat again this morning. If you're brand new, feel free to say so. Susan Jessup at 12:06 says sends her greetings from Susan, Suzette, and Mrs. Gemma. And as we speak, Miss Gemma, Gemma Richards, aka Funky Gemma, Swanky Gemma. Her funeral is on Wednesday coming. Okay, I'll read that a little later when I have the details somewhere in my chat. Right, but it's on Wednesday coming. Brennan Smith from Goodwood in Tobago, Erica Charles, Magic, Ramnaresh says good morning. Boy Bidesi from Debe, Marcia Rock from Pity Valley, Melissa from Charflair, Marlon Motley from North Valsayn, CJ from New York. Morning, CJ. I hope you're fully recovered now. Valerie Mendoza from Dabadi, Robert Taylor from Fernandina Beach. Why do I remember where everybody from now? Wendy and James from Aranguez, Pearl Cordis from Brazil Village, Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona.
Morning, Ingrid.
Sherwin and Juliet Kerr from Arima.
Morning,
Cheryl Johnson,
Juliet.
also from Arima. Carol Guevara from Chaguanas. Morning, Carol. Alistair Hart from sunny San Fernando. Slick Money Grip, morning from, I think, Port of Spain. Joyce Phillip, top of the morning to you guys. Norris Ferguson from right here in Arima. Diane Payne says good morning, net, and all on the live chat. And what is that symbol Diane Payne sent there? I'm not sure. Lambert Bruce from El Dorado. Odell Guy. Kathy Ann Charles from Cascade. Evans David says good morning. Gavin Frank from Powder Magazine. Rena Jennings from Pity Valley. Cheryl Seeley, not sure where from. Nicola McNichols. Is that a new name? I don't think so. But she says good morning, every gentleman, and then good morning, everyone. Felix Gazo says I have a productive day to the start of the week. DL says good morning. Lando, morning, guys. Mrs. R says yes, he did. You must say he did it. You will ever go against the chat? Ever? Chat. Run the sentence.
Envy and jealousy from people who love other people is real. You all just saw it.
Ron DeSantis Jr.
If you went down before, you just saw it.
That woman is a mess. She's a mess. She hooked, line, and sinker.
Yeah, Alistair had said it too.
Frankie Andrews said, I didn't hear it. You see? I know that some people who didn't hear it.
So they were late.
No, Norris said it was played. Carol didn't hear it. So it depends on where people listen, I guess. Because some people saying they didn't hear it, and some people said, yes, it played. You know? So,
and I believe Marlon.
Marlon says, yes, it played. Marlon is the next one. I don't think he'll go against it. Oh, I don't know why. I don't know who Marlon is there, but I just have a feeling he ain't going to go against it.
All right.
Wayne Ramsey from Fort Lauderdale. Wendy had also said she heard it the first time. Chris too says Grand Rising, gentlemen. Trinidad has too many. Oh, chat. Any balling is not acceptable. Chris too says, you know how we just thrive and live for holidays. We're glad when we get a little break. You make a joke, man. Anyway, good morning, Chris.
You know how much stress relief does take place on the holidays?
What? Lyndon says, good morning. Subhash Mangal. Alistair Hart was 32 and 45 years. Wow, okay. That's for the wedding anniversaries. All right. Gregory Boyer, he also confirmed. Finbar Collins, morning. Eva Smith, blessed morning to the breakfast crew. Susan Jessup says she heard it. Donna Ramlochan says, good morning, Sir Charles, Richard, and Wendell. Curtis Patrick, Jaron Joseph, all these people are saying that they heard it. Hillbenj Ilarizan, who is Nazir, says good morning, everyone. Dean Allen says, hi, everyone. It's the Mandela effect. What is that, Dean? What are you talking about? Puran Kanta says, well, it seems, okay. Puran, I don't know what you're really saying there. We don't have the results of the elections yet. Andrew Joseph, Charles Duncan, happy belated anniversary to my wife of 10 years, Laverne Edwards Duncan. So happy anniversary to Charles and Laverne.
Yeah, man.
Julia Farrell also said, good morning to the gentleman and everyone else. Welcome. I'm from St. Augustine. That's a new name. Keanu Flavor says, good morning. Nelson Island was where the first Indian indented servants were quarantined before being sent to their assigned plantation when they came to Trinidad. Thanks for that information, Keanu Flavor, because I thought that it had to have had some significance.
Yeah, some significance, yeah.
Yeah. Cynthia Ramsarup says, good morning. That's for song. Okay. The song Sir Charles played. Ambrose Blast says, good morning. That is, he said Wendell is sounding very low on his side. I wonder why. Maybe turn up the volume, Ambrose, because nobody else complaining. I speak loudly, so. Miguel Gonzalez says, good morning. Cheryl M, good morning. Julia Batiste says, good morning. Margaret Sejagat, good morning to everyone. That's also a new name. Anthony Atwell, Lennox Francois, and what did we miss out on, Suzanne? Yeah, I know. Mendel and Richard. So, Charles, what you get from Suzanne that we miss out on?
I'm still waiting.
So Charles just had a laugh there, yes. And Robert Harper also came in and said good morning. All right, you have any greetings, Sir Charles?
Yeah, so let me say good morning to Angela, who was in early, also to Junior, who was in early, Colin from Carenage, Margaret Thompson, good morning to you. Good to have you here. 1 minute, right. Frank Andrews out there in Aruka, good day to you. Also to Kent. Kent, I'm not sure where Kent is from. To Miss Dabady and Terry Ann, good morning to you, two beautiful people. And Archbishop Ashton Clark out there in Canada, good day to you. And that's it for me on this end.
I didn't see Tinto's message this morning. Tinto, I hope all is well. You normally message every single morning too. I hope all is well. All right. And Shirma Paul and Trinidad Margo also says, good morning. You have papers, Richard?
No, I don't this morning.
Okay. So
yeah.
We can
talk a little bit. We can talk a little bit before we get into the news. Because we usually do papers around 25 to anyway, if you're following the clock that we usually have.
No problem.
Not that you do.
So
but
we early today then.
No, you are early today.
Well, I don't know if the news over the weekend was
but what did you do over the weekend? Let's start there. Because it was a long weekend. It was like a never-ending weekend at one point. It was like, oh my God. But I went to Rudy's show on Saturday night.
Right.
Saturday night I went to Rudy's show. It was a lot of fun. I had fun,
Rudy is one of the best, He is. I like him.
Something no funnier for me than others, but that's how comedy is anyway. But I had fun, and I think a lot of people had fun. He did some really very interactive pieces with the audience. He came down to the audience. It was pretty hysterical.
Where was that show?
It was at Queen's Hall.
Queen's Hall, okay.
It was Queen's Hall, and at Central Bank you had 10 to 1 is Murder. So that was on. So after the show, we always go to Brooklyn Bar, just to hang for a while. That's like the choice of bar for so many people. The bar of choice, for so many people. Sydney, a lot in the artistic and theatre community go to Brooklyn Bar after a show. And Sydney, a lot of sports people also go to that bar after a show, after a game or something like that. So it has an eclectic mix of people in that bar, Brooklyn Bar. And isn't it the oldest bar in Port of Spain? I think it is.
It might be,
I think it is the oldest bar in Port of Spain. And anyway, we went there, and of course we met the old cast of 10 to 1 and Murders in there. So they were telling me to come on Sunday. I'd seen it when it was done before, but I didn't see this version of it, which of course was with a different cast. Well, a lot of the cast is different, including Chucky. So Chucky was telling me to come on Sunday, and some of the
Chucky as in Roger Gordon.
Yeah, he plays Sparrow in it. He plays Sparrow.
Okay.
and very good reports on it. But I just couldn't make it yesterday. I just couldn't. So my apologies. Hopefully they do it again some other time during the year. I know this was the last day at Central Bank was yesterday. So it had, theater to go to this weekend. Of course, theater is coming back in early July, and it's our final shows of Married and Mischievous. And a lot of people, I met people even at Rudy's show that were saying, oh my God, they enjoyed that show so much. And people who came to the show. And so Married and Mischievous will be on for our final shows. Second time back in Port of Spain at Queen's Hall on Friday, July 4th and Saturday, July 5th. So those are the two final shows in Port of Spain. And then our final last show is on Sunday in Sapa in San Fernando. That's where we will actually close the show, Married and Mischievous. We started in South, we closed in South. So people in Port of Spain, and Western, people from all over come to Port of Spain. Of course, including Westerners. We'll be there just for the 4th and 5th. I know it has tremendous word of mouth. So I know a lot of people are wanting to see it. So we'll be there soon.
All right. Well, Chewinko says 10 to 1 was excellent. They went last evening. I mostly stayed up east this weekend. I came down once or twice. When did I meet you? Saturday?
Saturday is when I passed.
Yeah. Right. So I was in Port of Spain Saturday for a few hours, and then I came down yesterday to vote. Yesterday I left Arima in blazing sunshine, only blue skies all over. I arrived to St. James, blazing sunshine, only blue skies all over. I went into Mograpo Girls, voted, and came back out. I had a chat with a couple reporters, Gail Alexander and Jermaine Cruikshank. They were there. They were waiting for the arrival of Stuart Young and Keith Scotland. No, I don't think Keith Scotland voted in that area. I'm not sure. Anyway, but they were waiting on Stuart Young to come. So I chatted with them. And then by the time I came back out, the weather completely changed. Completely changed. When I say change, pouring rain, with water in the drink. If I see water, I said, what is this? Just so? Anyway, and I went back to Arima, and of course I went across by my sister. We did some barbecue legs yesterday. I always like going on the grill. And that was it. I didn't do much this weekend. I didn't do much. I didn't do much. But it was a nice weekend. It was a weekend mixed with, the weather was just so.
It was mixed weather. You had some good periods and some rainy periods,
Well, the Saturday, which was the 21st, was the summer solstice, which is the day that you have the longest amount of sunlight hours in a day. And it was consistent. In other words, it was a good day. It wasn't that Saturday.
Yeah,
Saturday was a good day.
Really good. But when are you going to get the results for the PNM and general elections anyway?
I don't know. I've been looking and I've seen.
Well, how much people vote so?
I've seen nothing.
How much people vote in that election?
You see, 300? PNM elections is normally the day. What you ask?
How much people vote in that election? 300?
I find, Richard and Wendell, that these people who have these 200 and 300 people voting, Trinidad, PNM, PSA,
UNC,
2 or 3 days to get the results from these things are general elections with hundreds of thousands of people. We just get it in 4 hours.
That was the PNM is not normally in that category because PNM elections is normally the day of a convention, and it's announced at the end of the convention where they install the officers at the end of the convention.
Oh, so this was a little different.
Yeah. The convention
have the results already.
The convention is actually next weekend.
Oh, you should have the results already then. But anyway, we'll be trying to speak to some people connected to the elections in the next hour, and some PNM members. Well, some of you are already in the chat, I guess. Who can weigh in on whether they voted or not. And stuff like that. Of course, they had so much bacchanal and confusion in the PNM these last few days. Well, for this internal elections, there's generally been a lot of, and maybe a little bit more bacchanal than usual. So much so that Camille Robinson Regis had to come out and made a statement. She came out and made a statement concerning it because of a lot of the snarky comments against Dr. Rowley. They didn't name him a lot of the time, but you knew who they were speaking about.
We all knew. I and all put out a post on Facebook concerning
a lot of snarkiness that took place in the election. Lots of snarkiness, and of course you have the changemakers who ain't playing. They ain't satisfied with a lot of things. Then you have people who find Penny too quiet, and you have people who say leave Penny alone.
Who are they?
It was
coming forward. We identify any of the change makers as yet?
No,
you
but
don't need to. That's not our responsibility, Sir Charles. Why you making it sound like it's our responsibility? We don't care. We just like the bacchanal. So whether they come forward or yet, who cares? It's bacchanal. That is what we're interested in.
But there have been people,
if we know who they are.
There have been people who've been commenting on social media under their names, their actual names, as opposed to some people who like to comment with fake names. You know, we have some, well, with AKAs, you understand, and who always changing up their name every 2 weeks. You understand? But so the people have been very open and vocal about certain things. I mean, I was anyway. I'll wait and see, because I don't know if the results is to be announced next week at the convention, or if you're going to know the results before, which I think they should, and then install the officers next week at the convention. I think the results should be known right away. That's my opinion, but I don't know what is the plan.
You know? I hear you, but like we could do the papers. I got the papers. So
you got papers?
Yeah, I got papers. So when I turned up my camera, I just went to But so I have the papers for this morning, so I can do that, and then we can take some calls on
sure.
some of the issues.
Sure.
Well, one of the major issues we haven't really discussed is that Israel-Iran war, and the U.S. entering it by bombing certain sites in Iran, of course, which is occupying international attention and the Security Council.
Yes.
As to where that is going to go, how much more is it going to escalate, or is it going to de-escalate? That's interesting developments in that part of the world.
But it's almost like if what the US did is to say, hey, I hear, cool it, or you cool it. It's almost like that's what the message is.
Who says that?
That's my interpretation of the message the US tried to convey here. You understand? I go in and get rid because they say there is these nuclear sites that apparently won't.
Yeah, well, they bombed them, but I don't know that that's connected to saying cool it.
Well, it's almost like if it's connected to saying I'm now involved. All you need to chill.
But I don't know that it says to all you need to cool it. But the US is saying that that's their only objective. Their objective is not regime change. Of course, Israel, I'm sure, would like regime change, but the Americans are saying that it's not regime change. All they're interested in is that there be no nuclear program existing in Iran. And of course, the Europeans are moving through the diplomatic route with Prime Minister Starmer from England, the UK, and I think the French and the Germans are trying to still pursue the diplomatic route to get things to calm down, because things can escalate quickly. Russia and China,
China and Pakistan have joined with Iran. Well, they have pledged support for Iran's position.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure where it's all going to go, but it's for every time another country bombs another country, you have problems.
Yeah,
and obviously, and so it's just one of those international events that is concerning globally. So we can get into all of that, but anyway, let me get into the headlines. So the front page of the Trinidad and Tobago Newsday for today: PNM members vote for new leadership, and there is a picture of Penelope Beckles-Robinson, I guess, voting. She's at a desk, and I don't know if she's monitoring a vote or she's actually voting. I can't really tell. Victims' relative complains of lack of info as dire murder suspect in court today. That's on the front page. And on the back page, Sealy stunner cancelled by Saudi Arabia. Gold Cup dream ends. So it ends for... Okay. Saudi Arabia is in the Gold Cup.
Saudi Arabia was invited, I think, as an invited team.
I'm a little confused, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started to watch that match last night, and I think that...
Yeah, so anyway, Gold Cup dream ends. I assume that means us. It ends with Trinidad and Tobago. Fraser earns Caribbean table tennis bronze. And that's it for the front and the back of, what is it? Gold Cup heartbreak. Soca Warriors ousted after 1-1 draw versus Saudi Arabia. So that's it for the front and the back of the news. Moving on to the Guardian this morning. The front page of the Guardian. Warriors miss out. They gave it the front page story. Warriors miss out. And also PNM must unite. So Penny calls for healing after bruising internal poll marred by claims of voter irregularity.
Well, I experienced that yesterday with a member of my party group, where we went in St. James, and her name, she's been the secretary of the party group. She's been a member of the party group for quite a while now. Never had problems before, and her name was not there yesterday. And I inquired about other names, and they were also not there from my party group. I said, but I have a party group over 20 years now. I did find that I didn't make any, I just voted and got out of there. I didn't feel to think. Gail Alexander asked me a couple of questions though, and I answered. Because Gail and I get along pretty good, you know. So I don't know if it has formed the basis of any article. I haven't bought a paper in such a long time. Maybe it's there.
Shot prison officer undergoes surgery and brothers to be charged in Savannah murder case. On the back page, Warriors exit Gold Cup. So that's heartbreaking for a lot of football supporters and Trinidad and Tobago supporters of football. So that's sad news in terms of sports. Let me see if I find any other sports news that Paul takes Carnival of Street Sprint gold at NCC. And what is this? Anyway, and Vikings back on top of the division in National Mixed Leagues of Darts. Darts? Well, right. The only time I ever played darts was... Where have I played darts?
When you go in a rum shop somewhere, no? That's the only place there's a darts board.
No, not in a rum shop. I don't go rum shops.
A bar.
No. They have rum shops anymore. I think they're called snackers. Daily Express front page. Modi heads to TNT. So India Prime Minister accepts invitation from government. So Modi heads to Trinidad and Tobago. So that will be a state visit of some, note.
Magnitude.
So Toronto face off police with separate pro-Israel counter-protesters from a protest against U.S. military strikes in Iran outside the U.S. consulate in Toronto. So that's the main picture. Complaints over PNM voting. And well, we just had one live here. You all didn't realize it, but it was a formal and very clear objection to how voting took place. Well, they may think it was just a...
No, the voting process was smooth, But the fact that people's names were not on the list.
But you felt that there was irregularities.
Of course.
You all are hearing it on the breakfast show. There were irregularities in the voting in the PNM internal elections, said here by a senior member who has a lot of influence. A lot of PNM stalwarts watch the show in the morning because of that gentleman or that we all are watching there in green. Okay. Flood fix fails. Piako community inundated despite flap gates. And PNM irrelevant, says Abdullah, and calls for peace in the Middle East. All of this is, the Express wanting to be different, has news all over the place now. Mm-hmm. And of course, I have to go in to get sports. Series decided today after Matthew Shepard's West Indies women to nervy 6-wicket win over South Africa with 4 balls to spare in the second T20 international. Valiant effort by TNT, but York's men exit Gold Cup after 1-1 draw against Saudi Arabia. Paul maintains speed dominance, and Cavaliers clinch last T10 title. That's it for our 3 dailies this morning. So now you know, and this is the point at which we can open up our lines, I guess, to our listeners and viewers across the planet, wherever you are. You can open up our lines at this point.
Just to confirm, Andre, you are right. When we interviewed the chairman of the election committee, Richard Walcott, he did say that everything was in place and the results would be available on the night. He did say that. So that's why I'm a little surprised that you haven't seen or heard anything about results.
Well, of course, he's one of those that we will certainly endeavor to speak to in the next hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So send Sir Charles the number one time.
Yep. Well, unless he goes through the chat again, but I can send it over. But I did.
Of course, send it over. You know, much things you always send in that chat between a number. Let me tell our listeners, sometimes we trying to get in contact with people, and I generally try and save numbers as quickly as possible, but sometimes you don't. And I will say, what is that number? And when I say it was in the chat, he been in the chat about 5 days ago. I have to go through 100 messages to look for that number.
Just to find it.
Because he and Sir Charles always chit-chatting. You all know older people, when they have nothing to do. They're always chatting on WhatsApp. I don't know if you all know that. And so there's 100 messages. I said, just send it over again.
Some people chat and some people buff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we invite the callers, so let's take them. Thank you very much. Caller, morning to you. Welcome.
Hey, morning, gentlemen. Do you?
Morning.
Via Norfolk, Virginia. Here in what we call SOCOM down here in Tampa Bay, Florida. Gentlemen, in relation to this very grave situation here taking place, in the Middle East, everybody will be impacted by this. But I'll tell you something. No person in the U.S. Army or U.S. Air Force, any soldier, sailor, airman or woman, Marine Corps airman or woman, U.S. Coast Guard or even U.S. Space Command, no one, I can tell you for a fact, dreads war more than anyone who have done that. And anyone who tells you so, either two things, they're lying or something wrong with them. Since 1979 to the present day, every U.S. president, both Democrat and Republican alike, has allowed Iran or their proxies to slap not only the USA, but the West for way too long. And those, I call them dirty old men, the mullahs, they really doomed, hoping that it'd be doomed, for their ultimate demise. And I'll tell you something, 8 years ago, an opportunity arose for the people of Iran. And I know a number of people from Iran and that region, decent individuals who even wore the uniform for a number of Western, military, establishments of the West. And I can tell you something, that anybody who really welcomes what is happening right now will be the real people of Iran and not the zealots or the dictators who run that country. So just for the record, I just wanted to, express this. And let's also pray, that something comes out of this positive for peace. Anyway, thank you again for giving me the opportunity, gentlemen.
Well, I'm sure, I don't know, you're talking about the places that is pretty more so at war. So I don't know if we could pray for peace now. No? But
nobody wins a war.
You gotta hope for peace, because them praying and them praying for war. You understand? You gotta hope for peace.
Nobody wins a war. Nobody.
Let's take another call.
I just saw it. Call back, people. 281-1315. That's the number to call. All right.
On the chat, morning, Nasa Mohammed, morning, Margaret Thomas. Who else came in there at the end? Anne-Marie Watson, Miss Maloney. Carlisle Cupid also says, good morning. So yeah, we're taking your calls.
I sent you something in the WhatsApp chat in the group, Wendell. So pay attention.
Oh, okay, I could respond. Well, we could do one based on the topics that we're talking about. You know, I'll respond to you now. Well, we have 5 minutes, but
yeah,
you have nobody else calling there, Sir Charles.
I'm telling you,
And Zena and them this ball they just can't get through.
and Zena was coming in just now. She went back out, and I don't know. Maybe somebody came to her. Or she's coming back in now.
Yeah. I don't get the
Good morning,
impression
Zena.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning. Okay, what's going on? All right. Hello, good morning, Zena.
Good morning, Sir Charles. Good morning, Wendell and Richard.
Good morning, Zena.
That I find America like too much war. Why it just get up so Trump just get up so he say he gave them out 2 weeks to do, I forget how he put it, but then he didn't wait 2 days. You just jump in the war and bomb them. You just jump in the dispute and bomb the people. So I believe they're really looking for World War, you know. But and you haven't fixed your homeland yet for what is going on in America. Is outside you want to go and fix. People have to learn to fix at home before they go abroad to fix other people's country. Anyhow, Richard, that I enjoyed myself on Saturday night. Rudy's show was really good too. Really,
Yeah, it
really,
was. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I forgot to mention that you were there in pink. You were in pink and you stink.
Yes, if you're pink, you stink. Or you have to be pink to be stink. I in the party, I in the stinky party. Yeah. The way, and I had to join another party, you know, because the way I put on my PNM blanket, it in the dirty clothes, as well, see.
Oh,
So
but Zena,
yeah.
besides us needing to know, a lot of the listeners and viewers who want to know, did you vote yesterday in the PNM internal?
They wanted to know if I vote.
I saying so. They didn't say so, but I saying so because I know plenty of people fast.
Well, I said I was voting, and I know, and I said who I was voting for.
Oh, so you did vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no slate can get my vote. So I know who I voted for.
Have a snake?
Yeah, I didn't vote for Slate either. I voted for people who I felt Penny needed, not wanted.
That's right. And who we feel could straighten out that thing there.
All the song and Changemakers adjacent.
Good morning to all those who logged on, and the weekend was really nice and beautiful. Little rain and sun in between. I enjoyed it. So good morning to everyone. I'm CJ in New York. I hope you're feeling much better.
Yeah, good morning, CJ. I hope you're feeling better. Yeah.
Later.
Our best wishes to you, CJ. I know you messaged me this morning and I didn't reply.
Yes, you did.
Right, everybody, lines are open to you. 281-1315. That's 281-1315. You can get in now, just before we get to the morning poll.
Yeah. I went by a nice little line by Irene too on what that was. What day was the 19th? Labor Day. She normally does a nice little house line, a breakfast brunch kind of thing on Labor Day. That was pretty well organized too. Nice music.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Grant.
Yeah, man. Amen. I catch you with the boy. Spend a part time, I have to make sure I'm lining. Because I know you have to line up now. Hey, Wendell, how you going, brother?
I'm good, Mr. Grant.
I want to remember what time I leave San Jose yesterday because I live about quarter past 3. Because
No,
I see the mountains.
that's late, Mr. Grant.
You come up there and get a rain.
No, I came down early. By 10:30 I had voted and was leaving already.
Yeah, but why I live down the rain is about here too. So anyhow, when that guy, you see, I know listening on the radio day, 95.5 and them day. They say what Master Sting didn't see name on the ballot. So he's thinking about legal things. But the thing went smooth, but that some people, I see I wait 25 minutes to cast my own because he had a paper come out from his pocket. So he just can't think he must have a little bacchanal and himself. But everything went smooth.
All right, good to hear.
I want you all to remember when this woman talking, but when you have to get more, you have to always remind the people and them. The man with the beach and with that somebody that beach and water from the $890 million weapon. A lot of the people on the radio and TV are forgetting that, you know. That water waste is 800. The Indian man went to this right after the United election. People forgetting that. Okay?
All right.
All right, thanks.
Okay, Mr. Grant. Morning, Charmin Bernard, Garfield, Hazel, Cheryl Henry, and who else? Candice Pascal.
Okay, Mr. Patrick, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Sir Charles. Morning, Wendell. Morning, Raghuva Singh. Morning.
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
This weekend I was reading some papers and news and things. Trinidad is a real movie place, you know. A movie place. This young lady will get killed and the whole thing wrong that surroundings. There's a lot of things went on there, yes, boy. But young people, I don't know what they get involved in when they get involved, brother. So let me young people outside know what they're doing out there, brother. And sisters, because all could really get tired. No. I was reading some article about the Homeland Security Minister. He was a big talk during the weekend, right? You went out?
No, I'm not aware.
They had a big conversation about him, which is eloquence and how he delivered things.
Mr. Patrick, we shut down that kind of discussion last week.
We shut it down, but it's a talking point throughout the country.
Yeah, but it's not for us. Not for us.
That is not a talking point.
It's not a talking point for us.
Right. I understand that. Mm-hmm. No, Iran and Israel. Mm-hmm. Iran threatened America. Iran tell America anytime they get involved, they got to deal with the consequences. What do you mean by that?
Maybe wait to see.
You understand? So Trump will take no threat. Trump went and attacked the people based on the nuclear thing and mass it up. You understand? Ukraine recently, is that an issue here? If we see any Venezuelan boat attack, coming to the water, attack, it will force.
All right, Mr. Patrick, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have to go to our poll and the time. And
thanks very much, Mr. Patrick.
And Sir Charles and Wendell don't look at the time, but I do. So I'm so sorry to interrupt.
I'm happy that you said that.
Yeah. So do you think we are on the verge of World War III? That's our poll this morning. Because there's a lot of speculation about it. So do you think we are on the verge of World War III? That's our poll this morning. A little serious and a little kind of frightening poll, but
it is worrying. It is worrying.
What do you think? That's our poll for this morning. Yes, we went there this morning talking about the Israel-Iran war because PNM internal elections are not the only thing happening.
Clearly not. That's the whole little. That's not a war. That's just a family squabble. I'm seeing a name here, Raphael Bones. Raphael, is that you, the councillor for Belmont? Okay. Welcome to the best show on radio. And good to have you in the chat. So you ready for votes, Richard?
Yes.
Nazir said yes. Crystal Stevenson says yes. Annie Bunyan, yes. Boy Bidesi, yes. Ramnarish, yes. Julia Batiste, yes. Cheryl M, yes. Donna Ramlochan, no. Wayne Joseph, yes. Rena Jennings, yes. Mrs. R, yes. Beauty Culture, yes. Nicola McNichols, yes. Terrence Roach, no. Joyce Phillips, yes. CJ from New York, yes. Brennan Smith, yes. Alice Sahad, yes. Andre, no. Carol Guevara, yes. Margaret Thomas, yes. Kurt Narcis, yes. Far Rockaway, no. Ambrose Bladden vote. Debbie Mitchell, no. Those are the votes we have thus far. So, Charles, do you have any?
Yeah, but let's go to the news and I'll give you it after now.
All right. So we'll go to the news and then we'll start back from Gregory Boyd.
Yeah. And remember, people, you can vote throughout the news, right? Please.
Yes. They know that.
Right. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Monday, June 23rd, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. Despite rumors on social media, 38-year-old prison officer Govindra Balgobin is still alive after being ambushed and shot last Thursday. Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara confirmed that Balgobin remains in critical condition at hospital and assured that police are closely monitoring his progress and supporting his family. Balgobin was attacked near the Piarco intersection just after 8 p.m. on June 20th while heading home after his shift at the maximum security prison. The gunman escaped in a wagon along the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway, but the vehicle crashed into a pole. Police recovered a firearm at the scene, and one suspect, who was seriously injured, is under police guard in hospital, while another is assisting with inquiries. Both Guevara and Prisons Commissioner Carlos Carraspe condemned the shooting as a cowardly act and called on the public to provide any information that could help bring those responsible to justice. The Fair Trade Commission is encouraging local pharmacies to file formal complaints if they have evidence of anti-competitive practices in the pharmaceutical industry. This comes as the Health Ministry begins a review of the Chronic Disease Assistance Program following reports that a few suppliers receive most of the lucrative contracts. One company, Smith Robertson and Company Limited, received nearly 42% of all CDAP contracts over the past decade, about $1.8 billion, with another company, Bride & Pie Limited, capturing 17%. Pharmacy owners say these practices have led to rising prices, restricted competition, and difficulties obtaining drugs at fair rates. Many have also faced sudden price hikes from major distributors, forcing patients, especially pensioners, to pay more or go without medication. Shell Trinidad and Tobago has signaled it's open to boosting gas production from the Manatee field, responding to Energy Minister Rudal Munilal's call for increased output to ease the country's gas shortage and help improve government revenues. Shell's country chair, Adam Lomas, said they'd work closely with the ministry to explore options to produce more than the projected 604 million cubic feet per day scheduled for 2027. Munilal noted the ministry is prepared to support Shell's efforts, pointing out that every extra molecule of gas matters given the current shortage. Shell also recently approved its Aphrodite gas project, set to add 104 million cubic feet per day starting in 2027. A 21-year-old security officer from Laventille, Kibwe Wells, has been charged with the murder of 21-year-old Savannah Dyer. Wells of Quarry Street, East Dry River, is expected to appear before a High Court Master on June 23rd in South Court B. Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Sabrina Dogdeen Jaglal, directed that Wells be charged after reviewing the case file and also instructed police to charge another suspect who is currently receiving treatment at the St. Anne's Psychiatric Hospital. Dyer, from Diego Martin, was shot and killed on June 14th. Her semi-nude body was discovered at the roadside in Carlson Field, Freeport. Surveillance footage showed Dyer at a bar in Barataria on June 13th and last seen alive getting into a black car. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, Jamaica is seeing its most sustained drop in violent crime in 25 years. The island has now gone 14 consecutive weeks with under 15 murders per week, the longest stretch of its kind since March 2025. Deputy Prime Minister and National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says Jamaica is on track to record its lowest murder rate in decades, about 24 per 100,000 people, the lowest since 1991. That means most Jamaicans under 35 are living in a safer country than at any point in their lifetime. Speaking at a Jamaica Constabulary Force Expo this week, Chang credited the police for a 75% drop in murders in St. James and other hotspots. He highlighted major investments in law enforcement, including better training, technology, and intelligence-driven strategies, calling these results historic milestones. In international news, Iran's representative to the UN Security Council is accusing the United States of having waged a war against his country under what he called a fabricated and absurd pretext. Ambassador Amir Saeed Iravani told the Council that Iran reserves the right to defend itself against what he described as blatant U.S. aggression, adding that the timing, nature, and scale of any Iranian response will be decided by its armed forces. He also accused Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, of dragging America into another costly and baseless war, calling the actions of both the U.S. and Israel a flagrant breach of international law. Iravani rejected claims that Iran was close to acquiring a nuclear weapon, labeling this a deceitful and false narrative. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
This summer, give your child skills of a lifetime with several boot camp. Children between the ages of 5 to 17, come enjoy Children Iron Chef Competition. Your child will learn to prepare healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, CPR, first and conflict management. With field trip, your child will be given free apron and certification upon completion. Call 492-7397 or 336-4935. Institute of Health and Fitness Company Limited, located at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna.
Join me, Brother David Muhammad, every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio, Powerful Radio. Join me to hear knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Tuesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Mornings just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Rewarded with violence in these last days. Lend ears to what I say. Man in his ignorant state, signed and sealed is on faith. Doctrines of the falling angel. No water, quench eternal flames of hell. Hellfire, I said doctrines of the falling angel. No water, quench eternal flames of hell. Hellfire, earth crisis. Earth crisis. All is suffering. Earth crisis. Earth crisis. Whoa, misguided people don't seem to care.
globe, far east to far west. High tax and cutbacks for military defense. I said doctrines are
Morning. Fresh energy. This is the Net Radio Breakfast Show.
Well, everybody, we welcome you back to the Breakfast Show. And of course, remember you're listening to New Era TT Radio, taking you above and beyond. I'm glad to have you here. All right? And of course, remember our next live stream on YouTube will be a little later on between 4 and 6 p.m. with the Drive Time Exchange with Tony Fraser and his guests. When we come off the live stream this morning, just after 8 o'clock, your next live stream appointment will be 4 p.m. this afternoon. All right, so let's go back, take a couple messages before we get back to the breakfast show.
Great news, Caribbean. The Breakfast Show is now on M&E TV, bringing you entertaining conversations, vital information, and influential perspectives throughout Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean region. Catch us on Digicel Channel 20, Flow Channel 111, Amplia Channel 117, Blink Channel 109, Trico Channel 154, and Airlink Channel 10. The Breakfast Show connects with the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago like never before. We're now on M&E TV.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
The only question I have for you is how you find your play going so far?
I was gobsmacked, to say the least. Very glad that I came to see it and can't wait for the next stop.
Very nice, lovely, yes. I could do it again.
I think the parade is fantastic, and I actually told my husband tonight that I think this is one of the most hilarious and phenomenal ones yet.
Love that.
So I was dying of laughter, and the plot is creative and fun, so I just think it's awesome.
I find it has a twist, and it raises a game changer, right?
Right.
It's a game changer,
like
so it's a plus.
How was the show tonight?
Oh, it was fantastic. We got fabulous actors.
Yes, we do.
It was a fabulous night. My husband laughed very loud. It was exciting.
It was excellent. I must say it was a refreshing look at the real life aspect of a marriage. I find it was excellently portrayed, I must say.
It was really exciting. I laughed a lot. And the story was really, really good. The principles, that they talk about and share with us, it was really good to see they put that in humor, with humor.
Have you heard? The hilarious adult comedy Married and Mischievous is coming to an end. No. Where are the last shows? I'll tell you. Port of Spain. Final 2 shows at Queen's Hall on Friday, July 4th and Saturday, July 5th at 8:30 p.m. And our absolutely last show is on Sunday, July 6th in Sapa, San Fernando. Tickets available in all usual outlets in North and South. Don't miss the comedy that everybody is raving about. Check RSRR Productions Theatre on social media. And remember, strictly adults only. It's a bacchanal. Yes, of course, we are back. And I just wanted to let people know that tickets are available at all outlets for the show on July 4th and 5th and the 6th. So all the usual outlets apply. Of course, if you go to Queen's Hall, tickets will be available at the Queen's Hall box office. And, of course, at the usual outlets, K-Squared Fashions in West Mall, East Gates, and Brentwood Mall in Chagonas. Of course, Brentwood Mall in Chagonas will have for both South and Queen's Hall. And Electronics in Arima, Jabili Rawe in Tunapuna, and Tony's Florals in Val Park Shopping Plaza and Champlain Auto Services. And of course, the southern outlets would be K-Squared Fashions at C3 Center and Fens of Marabella by the Roundabout. So now you have it, but tickets are available for sale. All those outlets have tickets. So get your tickets early to our final shows. You should not miss Married and Mischievous.
Richard, one of the ladies in the audience there looked like Charmaine.
You mean in the
ad just now?
In the ad, yeah. Yes, you're right.
It looked like Charmaine.
You're right.
Yeah. All right. So just to give you the votes, I have to Ambrose Blah, my apologies. You did in fact vote. He said there will be no World War III. Europe will not get involved in that foolishness. No. So he says no, right? My apologies, Ambrose. Gregory Boyer says no. I did Debbie Mitchell, right? Gregory Boyer says no. Susan Jessup says yes. Bible have to fulfill. I think somebody also said that earlier on too. I'm not sure Henry didn't vote there. Raphael Bond says it is him. Okay, thank you, Raphael. And he votes no. Pearl Cody says yes. Kurt Narcis said sorry about my manners. Okay, good morning, Kurt Narcis. We always like mannerly people. Ava Smith says yes. Crystal Stevenson says, okay, she likes to tune Sir Charles. Yeah, that's a good choice, Sir Charles. I'm proud of you. Slick Money Group says yes. Sherwin Kern, no. Anthony Tinto, no. Morning, Tinto, you know, wake up. All right, so those are the votes I have. I don't know if Sir Charles has any.
Yeah, so I have a couple of them. So Angela says no. Pauline says yes. Sexy Reds says she's just getting up. She's a little late today. She says yes. Also, Captain Ron says yes. Tyrion Peters says yes. And Cephas Charles says yes. Horatio Services says no. Zena says yes. That's all I have here at this point.
And I have two more on the chat. And Marie Watson says no. And James Kamau says no. All right. So should we end it there, sir?
Polls are now officially closed.
Boss man.
I wonder what I'm doing this morning.
All right.
You didn't get coffee this morning or something?
What's that?
We asked him end the poll.
Okay, yeah. The poll this morning was: do you think we are on the verge of World War III because of the Israel, Iran, and now U.S. conflict in the Middle East? So, do you think we're on the verge of World War III? That was our poll this morning. We had 43 people voting on the poll this morning. Out of the 43 people voting, 29 of you said yes. You do think we're on the verge of World War III. 29 of you said yes, and 14 of you said no, you do not think so. So 29 says yes, 14 said no. The yeas have it this morning in terms of being, thinking that we are on the verge of World War III. If I had to vote, I'd vote in no camp. I think there will be a lot of. I think the world is so integrated with information and stuff now. I don't think they would allow a World War III to happen. That diplomacy will take over because they know nobody benefits. The entire world, because of the level of weaponry you have now, the entire world would suffer. So I don't think they will allow it to get to that point.
Yeah,
but that's just me. So I would vote in no camp if I had to.
Yeah, me too. Because I don't think the world wants it. I mean, as much as why did they create these weapons in the first place? I don't even know. You know what I mean? But we'll see. I want to visit the world. I don't need to visit destruction and mayhem and thing. I don't need that. I want to see the world. I still have plans to see the world once God gives me life.
Well, you had destruction and mayhem in your personal life. You don't need it.
Well, exactly.
You don't need to see.
I don't need to go somewhere with where it is. Already running from it here. You understand? Already running from it here. What would the go say for?
I get you. I get you.
Yeah. No, I don't believe there'll be a world war. The last world war we had was what, 1990, ended in 1945, somewhere 1944, somewhere there.
Yeah, 545 World War II, out of which the United Nations was born, in a sense, to prevent the reoccurrence of a world war.
Exactly. So and Ambrose Bra is saying that Europe won't get themselves involved in that. So Let's hope good sense prevails.
Yeah. Let's hope. It's troubled planet at certain points.
What they need to do is just do enough little disturbance here to let the oil price go up here, so this government can have plenty of money to spend.
But the oil price is already going up.
Right. So people could get the 10%. Everybody would win, and all these things would happen, and Dave Tanku won't be just going down every minute with his tabanka about pass this and pass that. He will get on with the job of fixing the place. That is why I want that.
Our poll is done for the day. That's it. So so we can still take some. Well, we wanted to speak to the what is it? The chairman of the elections. What's the title? Y'all get
chairman of the election supervisory committee, Richard Walker. Okay. He's also the chairman of San Juan Laventil Regional Corporation.
All right. So I assume Sir Charles has him on the phone now.
I will now get him now that you have decided this is the time that you want him. So yeah, give me a couple of minutes.
Yeah. What we could also tell you, listeners, is that we did reach out to the Commissioner of Police again, and he did respond to me. As a matter of fact, he was responding to me in Richard's presence on Saturday. I was chatting with him on Saturday, and he was responding in Richard's presence. We didn't drink yet. So we will get him. He did say that he's committed to coming on the best show on radio. You know what I mean? He said a lot. He said a lot of journalists have been calling him and they want to be first. I told him, well, you can't be first on the worst. You have to be, you gotta come on the best. So he laughed. And, we had a nice little friendly chat over the weekend. But we are hoping to get him. And as I say, Mr. Guevara has been commissioner for a week now? A week? Maybe just about a week?
A few days, officially.
Yeah. Was it last? No, it wasn't Wednesday. It was the Friday before that. So he's been commissioner just over a week. Yeah.
No, for a few days officially.
Okay.
When he was sworn in.
Was it last week? No, it was Tuesday, I think. I think it was Tuesday was the handing over ceremony, right? So you're right. It may be just shy of a week, right? That he's been commissioner, and he's been putting out a lot of releases since, under his name as commissioner of police. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but he has put out some releases under his name, commissioner of police, Alistair Guevara. You understand? So we'll see how it goes. And the fact that we still have not heard anything untoward about Mr. Guevara is always a good sign. I said this before he was appointed, and since he's been appointed, we have not heard anything untoward about Mr. Guevara. And as I say, that's a good sign. But we will get him. And
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
I have got the chairman for you guys. So, Chairman, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Walcott. Well, in your both capacities.
Yes, Randall. Good morning.
Oh, you're great. All right. So, what news do you have for our listeners and for ourselves concerning the internal elections of the People's National Movement yesterday?
Well, we left our headquarters after 3 this morning. We are yet to give you the results. We are waiting on about 2 or 3 constituencies. As soon as we get those, we'll be able to give you official results of yesterday's turnout.
Can we expect those results today?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, results will be out. Let's say by midday, we will have the results out for you.
Oh, well, that's good news because some people were opining that it may be done at the convention, but you are in fact giving results prior.
Yes, the results will be out today, just after midday, because we'll be meeting to finalize everything today. This morning.
All right. What can you whisper to us at this point in time?
What I can whisper is that it was a successful elections, and we have a winner. It appears as though we have a winner with just about 3 or 4 constituencies to come in, and we'll be able to give you something official midday.
When you say we have a winner, do you mean a slate won?
But I can't say yet. I can't say. I won't be able to say that yet until we finalize everything.
Okay. Now, yesterday, I could speak from personal experience because I was there, and she's in fact the secretary of my party group. Her name was not on the voters list. Neither was it on a supplementary list. And she's been the secretary of my party group for quite some time. And I know that I saw on social media other complaints of a similar nature.
Yes,
how was that dealt with?
We had other complaints, but what we normally do when there are complaints like that, we set up hotlines at Balize House so that persons whose name does not appear on the list, we ask them to we ask the returning officers or the information officers to contact Balize House, and they will look at their system to see if the name appear on the system, just like you do it with the EBC. You know, they will put out a general list, and then they'll have a supplemental list. And if you go on, your name is not there, you will call Balize House and they will look. Call EBC and they will look on their binder and check to see what it is. And that is what we were doing. We were able to find some people. Balize House were able to find some names. You know, some were there, some weren't. We tried to solve that problem with those persons who were not able to find their name on the two lists that we put out.
So is it that when confirmation was had from Balize House that person was allowed to vote at the various constituencies?
Yes. What the presiding officer will do, the presiding officer will take note of it. That name was found on Balize House system, and they would have allowed to vote. So therefore, note will be taken in their diary what the process was for them to vote. Yeah.
Because that seemed to also have generated some sort of discussion in that the instruction wasn't coming from you as the head of that committee.
No. That is once your name, if found your name, it will be allowed to vote by the election and supervisory committee.
Because all right, so in as far as you are aware, the process went smooth without any hitches.
We had some hiccups here. We had persons, canvassing, and we had to go out there and deal with those situations, and it happened from all sides. All sides, people were out there with their slates and their names, and it appears as though there was a lot of slates because there were people with independence, and they had their lists out there given out to a person. Matter of fact, one of our EBC, our election supervisory committee officers, they were visiting a polling station, and they were given one of those lists by the independents, and we had other people giving out lists, so we had that problem to deal with yesterday. So everybody was campaigning out there, and we had to go out there and deal with that situation.
Yeah. Now, I thought about this yesterday, before I hand back over to Richard. I thought about this yesterday in that I am a member of a party group and a constituency in Port of Spain, but I now live in Rima, of course. But I've maintained my membership down there. Is it possible that moving forward, that people from a constituency can vote anywhere? In other words, you go into any polling station on that morning and be able to find the polling stations will have the 41 constituency list, and you'll be able to vote from there. Wouldn't that encourage more people to come out and vote at the end of the day?
Of course. We have that in a limited way in that you have life members. So what we did, we ensured that our life member can go in any polling station and vote. So that's the party could look at that in the future.
Yeah. But
Chairman Walcott, I was interested in finding out a little bit of the turnout for the PNM election, because since the general elections, the PNM has lost a third of its base. Well, a third of its base roughly didn't vote for it. What was the turnout like for the internal elections? Because there has been a lot of disharmony and backbiting coming out of that internal elections that caused several senior members to make certain statements to the media or to post up statements on social media concerning, snide comments being made. You have the Changemakers who have a particular slant. So you have a lot of dissent in the PNM, which is part of the democratic process, I guess. But how was the turnout this time around? Because you must have an idea of turnout. You must have a general sense of turnout. Was it average, below average?
Yeah. Well, we are looking at a turnout to be around 7,000. That is what is projecting so far.
Is that average? Is that below average? Is that above average?
Well, in 2022, the turnout was about between 8,000 and 9,000. So it's a bit lower. This year, our figures are looking like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll wait. We'll wait until midday.
We will have some official results for you around midday or thereafter.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Walcott. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
Okay, you're welcome. Take care.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah,
that was Chairman Richard Walcott, the chairman of the Elections Committee, the PNM internal elections. We could see if we could get onto some of the candidates. Maybe we could try and see if we could get onto Penelope Beckles-Robinson. I don't know if Sir Charles could give her a call and see if she'd speak with us briefly via phone.
Yeah, we'll do phone calls.
And because was she the only slate? That was the only slate. Was it the only slate?
Basically, yes.
Or did Masai have a slate too? Did Farai have a slate too?
Farai had a slate also, yes.
Yeah, because they were called champions or something like that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I know plenty of PNM business, boy.
But yeah,
on top of things.
I'm watching you.
Right, Masai.
I'd call you Richard Thomas now.
So we could call see Penny Beckles-Robinson to speak with us, considering her slate and what she thinks the chances are. I know Sir Charles is probably on the line with her right now.
And we could also try to get the any of the people who contested: Foster Cummins, Marvin Gonzalez, Chinua Allen, Farai Masai, any of these other positions.
Get a sense of how they felt the voting went.
Yeah. So Charles is going through his database as we speak, folks. Yes, he has a whole host of names, and he's going to call them. You had to put up a voice control on the system, so you could just say, call Penelope Beckles or call Farai Masai. You understand? And we get them on. We had to go high tech, you know. Nuclear bombs dropping. I mean, bombs dropping all over the place in search of nuclear weapons, you know.
Just tell them it's a brief chat. You know, some of them might be reluctant to talk. You know how they do. It's a brief, informal chat, Sir Charles.
Yeah.
Why are people? I'm trying to see who I can find for you guys.
Yeah.
Try Penelope Beckles-Robinson first.
I put her number in the chat.
I tried her already.
That again?
I tried her already. She's not answering her phone.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna send a couple more for you now. Marvin don't respond to me again. He's only respond to Richard now. So, all right, I'm sending Marvin Gonzalez's number. We could try him. I'm also gonna send Foster Cummins' number. All the big players are sending for you.
Yeah, you could send Masai too. Well, Masai would be in the group. And you can also send Chinua Allen, because we would have interviewed them, so get a sense of how the elections went with them.
Yeah, I'll do Chinua and Farai.
You could also talk to Maxine Richards too. She wasn't.
Yeah, Maxine will be. Well, Maxine was totally independent. She wasn't on any slate. That was one of my surest X that I put. I didn't even have to think twice when I was voting in that category, you know. So and Irene Hines, as I said, those are two people who I am sure will put their best effort regardless of whoever is at the head of the PNM. Maxine Richards and Irene Hines. That's my personal opinion. You don't have to share it. All right. So you get a whole host of numbers there, Sir Charles. Call them. We're doing phone interviews. Right? And if anyone is listening and who would like to share an opinion, you could also try and call in or message us and give us an opinion. You understand?
Maybe message, and you don't want to confuse Sir Charles.
Cheryl Henry say howdy.
Some people for you guys. I have was running. People not answering this morning, but I'm trying.
Yeah, no, keep trying.
Somebody will answer.
I gotta call a few of them in the room.
Probably talk to the caller.
Some number they might answer. Cheryl Henry says, how the hell a big general election, we get the results that same night, and a little PNM internal election, are they still counting? Nah, man, Penelope Beckles. That's not unusual for internal elections, you know.
You said it was unusual when they'll...
No, it's unusual that the results, remember we always do it at a convention.
Right, so that's what you said, that you would get it at the end of the convention.
Right, but it's not unusual for a delayed count in a lot of these little tiny elections, you know. Because the Charles called out the names early on, you know. I don't know why he didn't call UNC name, but I had it.
Would you all like to speak with some of the callers in the meantime?
Yes, we could do that.
And I try to see who I can get.
Yeah, let's open up the lines.
So you could call us at 281-1315.
Yeah, right. Colted Finch says results not in yet. Trinidad not even as large as some state in the US.
Trinidad is not large as any state in the US.
True.
Trinidad could probably fit between Miami and Orlando.
Mrs. R says a winner. Why singular? I picked up on that, Mrs. R, because he said that it looks like there'll be a winner. So I picked up on that. That's why I asked him if it's.
Yeah, it seemed as if he says there was a slate winner. That's what it seemed.
That's the impression you got, eh?
That's the impression you got. That's the impression you got.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning again.
Good morning,
you know, I picked up on something what the person who you all called the chairman of the committee or whoever was handling the election. He said that he told us a different date to what we heard over the news last night. I heard on one of the television stations. They said that the information would be given on the 20th. They call it the Sunday with the convention, which sounded to me like mountain. So I was wondering last night why. So it's strange that I hear him saying maybe but later today or tomorrow.
No, the swearing in, the convention is on June 29th, where the installation of the officers.
So what is your finances? Well, I think next week.
Yeah, but he did give a commitment.
Why it would have been so late?
No, but Zena, could you listen a little bit?
Yes.
The results of the elections will be known right after, but the installation of the officers will be done at the convention.
No, well, he didn't say that. That is not what all they discussed. They said nothing about installation of officers. We're talking about when the results should have been given. That is what I heard last night.
From whom?
Well, listen to one of them TV stations now. If you could listen to a replay and you will hear what came over the news.
Okay.
I'm telling you what I heard.
All right. I'm not
was wondering why the results would be given quite then.
All right.
You understand? And the convention, well, we're hearing nothing about the convention either. You see, PNM, they're just already like the election, the major election that gone. And for he giving you a figure of about 7,000 out of so many thousands of members they have, means a lot of people didn't turn out. And I know a lot of people who tell me they was going to vote. And Rena is one who did not get to vote and they was not on the list. It had plenty names that weren't on the list. They didn't double check those lists. Right? But they hurry to call the election date. They should have taken their time, prepare the list, and keep double checking the list to make sure all the members on the list. That's my beef this morning.
Okay. Have a great day.
So Charles, you got anybody yet? Maybe he's talking.
We gotta get Sir Charles back first before he can get people.
Maybe he's talking to somebody.
Yeah, maybe he is. All right, but we can take your call still, people. 281-1315. We're taking your calls. We're talking anything you want to talk, actually.
Well,
PNM
mostly PNM internal elections, because, you know,
yeah,
that's what the program is about today.
Yeah.
Even though the results are not due until, well, according to the chairman of the elections committee, and if he say by noon, it should be by noon because he's the person in charge.
Yeah, he said noon or thereafter.
Guys, I finally found someone, and I got onto Mr. Masai. He's not in the best of position. He's very busy this morning on the road, but he will try to talk with you guys now in his best capacity.
All
Mr.
right,
Masai, are you there with us?
Good morning, Mr. Masai.
Good morning, Wendell. Good morning, Richard. I explained to Sir Charles that I'm doing the school run this morning. So,
you're dropping off the children to school.
if you hear some children in the background, it's because I'm putting them out my car.
All right. So
we just wanted to get a sense of how you felt the elections went yesterday.
How it went in terms of the process?
The process, yes. Because we've seen some comments about certain irregularities. Did you?
So I always like to be full and frank, especially when I'm speaking to Wendell. Yeah, the morning period was good. Yeah, so everything was going good up until about midday, and then after midday, that's when all the complaints start coming in, because we kept a WhatsApp chat, and when I say we, the independent candidates and the champions, we had a WhatsApp chat going. So that would have been at least 35 persons in that chat, and we will, and this is separate and apart from our scrutineers. So everyone had scrutineers at the different polling stations. So that's when the complaints start coming in just after midday, and the complaints were along the lines of the one team canvassing in the line, giving out flyers, telling people who to vote for. Obviously, vote for persons on the one team in the line. Now, we have no problem with the canvassing outside of the polling stations, but definitely when people canvass in the polling stations, it leaves an unfair taste in persons' mouth. Then there was a lot of complaints with regards to persons who are not on any recognized membership list voting. So that as well was a prevalent issue throughout many constituencies. That maxi loads of people will just show up and nothing on the documents is proving that they are members, and then whoever returning officer there is making a call to Balize House, and somebody in Balize House saying let them vote. So so yesterday we even wrote a letter to the Election Supervisory Committee complaining about all these irregularities. Our letter probably was sent out around 3 o'clock. The modus operandi of this Election Supervisory Committee has been not to respond to correspondence directly. They have never met with any of the candidates. I would simply say there's a lot of work to be done in terms of transparency and accountability with regards to the Election Supervisory Committee. Their communication with candidates was non-existent, really, and it just had too many questions. The elections have more questions than answers in terms of fairness, you know. So we actually asked the Election Supervisory Committee to disclose all of the persons that they allowed to vote that were not on any membership list yesterday, because it was just too rampant. We were getting it from Laoketa, we were getting it from St. John's East, we were getting it from San Fernando, you know. So it was just too. It was too much.
Was it concerning, or is it concerning enough that depending on the results, we can expect some legal challenge to the process?
To tell you the truth, because I have been involved with election petitions, and for me, it's really not worth the time. Just really for me, just from a perspective of someone whose time is very valuable, it's not worth the time. But what the party has to do is use it as a tool of reflection, because if it is, you cannot be fair in your own internal processes. then how are you going to convince the nation that you have changed? You know, so we believe it. Because on our side we already know the results because we had scrutineers there. So our scrutineers were there counting votes up until after midnight last night. I think the highest voter turnout was in Arima, that's Penny's seat, and I think the voter turnout was just over 500 in Penny's seat. With regards to the general turnout, it was an average of about 150 per constituency, if so much. The voter turnout, given the membership size, you're looking like just under 10% in terms of voter turnout.
Well, if you say you have a sense of the results, do you care to share that with us? At least what the champion slate thinks the results would be like?
No, we on our side, we know we have not defeated the incumbents. Everyone on Penny's team had won. I think the only person who looked like they were giving Penny a run for her money was Maxine Richards. That's the only candidate I saw giving them some sort of competition.
So the Penny Beckles-Robinson slate looked like they went with like they have the win.
Correct.
But in terms of Maxine position as welfare officer, the one Penny slate that we'll use Penny slate. I can't remember the name. I don't think did they offer a welfare officer?
I'm unaware if they did, but I know I'm aware that that Maxine would have come in on the leaders in service team under Dr. Rowley, and she offered herself as an independent this time around.
Yes,
but I'm not sure if the one team had put forward a welfare officer, but on the figures that we were seeing, the only independent that was getting votes was
Maxine.
Votes that could challenge, significant votes was Maxine.
Yeah. So what in fact has happened, if according to what you say is correct, is that the status quo remains, that whoever the leader wants as a slate, that's who wins at the end of the day.
Correct. Yes. Well, that's something that was predicted by Freddie Ferreira in I think it was an Express article I read on Sunday. You know, it was like they just hold on to the curtails of the leader, but the fact of the matter is that is what got us in opposition in the first place. So
well,
we see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, at the end of the day, the PNM has to regroup because they've done it on more than one occasion. So I can't see why they can't do it again. You know.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Masai. We are taking thank you for taking the time to speak with us while on your school run.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Wendell. Thank you for calling.
Right.
Thank you for
okay, all right. Say the children morning for me. Yes. All right. So that was all right.
Try to see who else I can find. People we can take 1 or 2 air calls also.
Yeah. Wendell, what is the PNM membership total? What is that?
You mean in
terms
of
100,000? Is it like?
I think it's upward of 100,000 on the membership list.
Is it like 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 180?
No, I couldn't give that figure, sir. We had the people on. We had Mr. Walcott. He would have been the one to ask that question. What is the exact figure?
But I thought you know everything about the PNM.
No, sure, please. You really don't know me and some PNM people. Why do you think they wouldn't answer me down there?
Well, if let's assume it's 100,000 people who are members of the PNM to vote, and Chairman Walcott said that 7,000 he think is voting. That's like 7%.
Yeah.
So it kind of is close to what Prime Masai is saying, because he's saying like maybe around 10%, but it will be a little less than 10% if it's 100,000.
Yeah.
If it's beyond 100,000, then the percentile starts to drift down.
But you have to.
Comes less than 7%. Starts to drift downward.
Yeah. But you have to do 150 by 40, multiply 150 by 40, and then add the 500 that he said may have come out in Arima. You know, at least Penelope Beckles, based on what Mr. Masai is saying there, and based on the videos I saw on TV last night, there were long lines in Arima, was able to encourage people in Arima.
It's about 6,500.
Yeah.
It's not far off what Chairman Walker is saying, which is around 7,000.
Yes.
So even though 500 can match.
Guys, I did not get onto the other individuals, but we have.
Did you get onto Maxine Richards?
No, I will have to check that one. You just put that in the chat. All right, I'll check.
Let me send Maxine number now, because Maxine as the only independent person who probably would have won. Must be feeling good. I mean, Maxine, as I said, is a very hard worker.
That's not official yet either, you know.
No, but I don't expect. Somebody also put in the chat just now there that they didn't. Oh, Garfield Hazel said Penelope Beckles-Robinson didn't put up anybody as well for officer. I think they accept that Maxine is good and she works hard. You know, she just didn't want to be associated with any slate, and I don't blame her for that either. You know.
All right. So while you do that, can I take the caller?
Yeah,
sure. Go ahead.
All right, caller. Good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. And your conversation with Mr. Masai, it will appear that in this go around, the PNM might have had less participation than when the last time around when Dr. Rowley's slate won the election. I'm saying when that happened, they were in government. So if this happens when you're in opposition, I think it portends very ominously going forward, you know, heading into Tobago House of Assembly elections and then local government elections next year, which to me would be the two elections of note to test how far the party has fallen out of favor. You know what I mean? As you know, you expect a coming together after the election, but I'm saying when you look at what has been transpiring over the past few days, I mean, I saw something on social media yesterday where someone put a sign saying that into election cancel till later date. They had the Robert Lehant response to what Mr. Young would have put out. So I have never seen this level of acrimony within the party. I mean, Mr. Stevens, you could correct me, but you know, this washing of the amount of dirty linen in the PNM, I am saying it would be hard for me to see, you know, something like that. I think the most significant shift before this was when person like Mr. Ferreira and Mr. Arthur was expelled and the ONR was formed by core PNM party members. So I just want to sit back and see how it unfolds, but it's not looking very good for somebody like me who is a observer and a supporter in the past. Take care, John.
I don't disagree with anything you said.
I mean, there seems to be more dissent from various quarters on different issues in the PNM. So it seems to be more of an amalgam of contentious dissent on various issues. But they have had dissent before because you had the Rowley Manning dissent, which was very public.
Yes.
But that seemed to be just that. But this time around, it seems to be different issues. You have issues with the opposition leader. You have issues with the slate. You have issues with Dr. Rowley and his leadership. You have issues, you know, you have several things in the pot. And you have the issues with Stuart Young and him ascending to the post. You have all of those things in the mix. So it seems to be different in that way. That's what I would say.
It's like a perfect storm forming.
Yeah,
you understand?
A lot of different issues. But you know, when people lose, and to the last caller, you tend to have disenchantment and less enthusiasm to vote and things like this. Vis-a-vis, if you are a winner, then people are more enthused because they figure, you know, people like winners. They back winners. So the whole idea of regrouping and getting the PNM back into the considerable political force that it is, let's not take it away from the PNM. They are a considerable political force. So the regrouping will take some time. I don't think, because this internal elections is so close to the loss, you expect that, to me, that the election turnout is going to be less.
Yeah.
Especially after 102,000 people did not vote who the PNM would usually depend on, they lost a third of their base, their core base. That's remarkable, eh?
Yes.
Guys, stick up in right there. I have Miss Richards, so Wendell, go ahead.
Oh, we got her. Good morning, Ms. Maxine Richards.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Ms. Richards. I don't know if to tell you congratulations as yet, but I know that I will have to at some point in time. Could you tell us how did yesterday go for you?
Yesterday went well. I voted in Mausika, Malabar. I didn't really have a wait, but I know people who voted in Arima and had to wait 2 hours and stuff. So there were lines, and I mean there were a lot of candidates to vote for. So I guess, and then there were the issues with persons' names not being on the voters list, and there were names, some people whose names were there in 2022. We had issues where persons who in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, we know they should have been on the voting list because they are financial members, and it wasn't. So it's those kind of irregularities that dampen the whole situation.
Yeah. What about your contest as welfare officer? Did the one team put up? Because I know you chose to do the independent thing, and I supported that. But did the one team put up someone as an alternative to you on their list as welfare officer?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
There was one other candidate who went independent, but I know there were times that she did appear on their platform. But it was stated that she is independent and she's not a part of them.
Okay.
Do you have any sense of what the results are for your position as yet?
Well, from seeing preliminary results, I know I would have been successful, but I'm not sure of the final results because we had a chat where persons were sending in the preliminary results, and from what I was adding up, I was successful. But there were a lot of constituencies that hadn't come in at that point in time.
Now, do you expect any level of awkwardness? And here why I'm asking you this question. Because you chose to be independent, you didn't want to be part of the slate that the political leaders supported. You chose to be independent, but I know that your name would have showed up in the other slates as the preferred person as welfare officer. Do you feel that there'll be a level of awkwardness now moving forward because you are the returning welfare officer with a team that you weren't part of? Do you feel that that'll be awkward?
Well, to be honest, I have worked well with the previous executive, and the previous executive was always very supportive of what I did, but you could never tell how the first meeting will be. It may be awkward, I don't know, because even though I ran as an independent, to date, they never showed me any type of, what would you say, any type of bad face or something.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I worked with them in the past, and we had a good relationship.
Yeah. So you expect that good relationship to continue?
Well, on my part, it will continue.
Well, one would think, your hesitancy is noted. I find you sound a little hesitant. That may be wrong, but that's my perception of you. How you said it, but the PNM is known to eventually coalesce among its membership about whomever the leadership is. They eventually they like to pride themselves in being a very disciplined party. And
Yes, we are. And I know after this election and the results. I know everybody will come together, and because at the end of the day, we need to fight the UNC, not the PNM, and we need to make sure that we get back into government in 2030.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, that certainly will be the direction that the PNM would want to go. I mean, but you know, but what is strange to me, and this is just as an outsider looking on, it seems as if there is a concerted effort to get rid of anybody that was too aligned with Dr. Rowley, to make it more of a Penelope Beckles-Robinson stamp in terms of moving forward. And that anybody who was too much associated with Dr. Rowley is being brushed aside. That's just my perspective. I may be completely wrong. I mean, I suppose you can weigh in on it and Wendell can weigh in on it, but that's the kind of sense I get.
Well, then the whole Penelope Beckles slate had to go then. If that's the case.
No, but the Penelope Beckles slate, a lot of the comments has been snarkily about Dr. Rowley's leadership.
Yeah, and you know my opinion on that.
Which prompted very much the loyalist to Dr. Rowley, Camille Robinson Regis, to make that statement. So that's why I'm phrasing it within the context of what you see playing out.
Mm-hmm.
And you have certain people who were selected by Dr. Rowley who are very silent. Hans Devines is one. He would have gotten Dr. Rowley's nod to take that place. He's not said anything. He's been conspicuously silent, in my opinion, in terms of the internal elections. And who are some of the other? Stuart Young has kept silent in that kind of alignment. So those who were very Dr. Rowley anointed, so to speak, have kept silent. So am I reading the picture wrong?
No, I don't think you, well, I mean, Maxine are buying this fight. I don't think you are. I don't think you are. But at the same time, as I said, I thought it was very ungrateful, ungracious of some people for the comments that they would have made about Dr. Rowley, because Lord knows he saved and he revived and saved some of them and made them senior ministers in his government. So for them to make the kind of comments about him after the fact, he's gone. Dr. Rowley is no longer part of the process. He is finished. He has resigned on his own accord. So I don't know why they would have made that part of the campaign. It was not necessary. Go out there, speak highly of Penelope Beckles-Robinson, because she is a decent person. She is a very approachable person. She is a soft person. Speak highly of her and move forward. What you're talking about Dr. Rowley for, I don't even know why that made sense. But it's all on water under the bridge now. Hopefully, let's see where it goes after the official results come. I'm happy though that Maxine chose to go down the independent road, and it shows her strength. The fact that she would have overcome and still be returned as welfare officer, it shows that her value and her work ethic, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Maxine, this is where we're going to have to close off. But certainly, early congratulations. If what the early results are saying, unconfirmed results, of course. So early, unconfirmed congratulations to you.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, Maxine. Take care. We'll talk. Of course, that was Maxine Richards. Hopefully,
we got some interesting conversations in, but of course, we are a little late for the 8 o'clock news. It's now 8:05. So let's hit that, and then we'll close off on The Breakfast Show.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is your news update for Monday, June 23rd, 2025. I am Amanda Mitchell with New Era TT Radio and M and ETV. Despite rumors on social media, 38-year-old prison officer Govindra Balgobin is still alive after being ambushed and shot last Thursday. Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara confirmed that Balgobin remains in critical condition at hospital and assured that police are closely monitoring his progress and supporting his family. Balgobin was attacked near the Piarco intersection just after 8 p.m. on June 20th while heading home after his shift at the maximum security prison. The gunman escaped in a wagon along the Churchill-Roosevelt Highway, but the vehicle crashed into a pole. Police recovered a firearm at the scene, and one suspect, who was seriously injured, is under police guard in hospital, while another is assisting with inquiries. Both Guevara and prison's commissioner Carlos Carraspe condemned the shooting as a cowardly act and called on the public to provide any information that could help bring those responsible to justice. The Fair Trade Commission is encouraging local pharmacies to file formal complaints if they have evidence of anti-competitive practices in the pharmaceutical industry. This comes as the Health Ministry begins a review of the Chronic Disease Assistance Program following reports that a few suppliers receive most of the lucrative contracts. One company, Smith Robertson and Company Limited, received nearly 42% of all CDAP contracts over the past decade, about $1.8 billion, with another company, Bride & Pie Limited, capturing 17%. Pharmacy owners say these practices have led to rising prices, restricted competition, and difficulties obtaining drugs at fair rates. Many have also faced sudden price hikes from major distributors, forcing patients, especially pensioners, to pay more or go without medication. Shell Trinidad and Tobago has signaled it's open to boosting gas production from the Manatee field, responding to Energy Minister Rudal Munilal's call for increased output to ease the country's gas shortage and help improve government revenues. Shell's country chair, Adam Lomas, said they'd work closely with the ministry to explore options to produce more than the projected 604 million cubic feet per day scheduled for 2027. Munilal noted the ministry is prepared to support Shell's efforts, pointing out that every extra molecule of gas matters given the current shortage. Shell also recently approved its Aphrodite gas project, set to add 104 million cubic feet per day starting in 2027. A 21-year-old security officer from Laventille, Kibwe Wells, has been charged with the murder of 21-year-old Savannah Dyer. Wells of Quarry Street, East Dry River, is expected to appear before a High Court Master on June 23rd in South Court B. Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Sabrina Dogdeen Jaglal, directed that Wells be charged after reviewing the case file, and also instructed police to charge another suspect who is currently receiving treatment at the St. Anne's Psychiatric Hospital. Dyer, from Diego Martin, was shot and killed on June 14th. Her semi-nude body was discovered at the roadside in Carlson Field, Freeport. Surveillance footage showed Dyer at a bar in Barataria on June 13th and last seen alive getting into a black car. You are listening to news on New Era TT Radio. In regional news, Jamaica is seeing its most sustained drop in violent crime in 25 years. The island has now gone 14 consecutive weeks with under 15 murders per week, the longest stretch of its kind since March 2025. Deputy Prime Minister and National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says Jamaica is on track to record its lowest murder rate in decades, about 24 per 100,000 people, the lowest since 1991. That means most Jamaicans under 35 are living in a safer country than at any point in their lifetime. Speaking at a Jamaica Constabulary Force Expo this week, Chang credited the police for a 75% drop in murders in St. James and other hotspots. He highlighted major investments in law enforcement, including better training, technology, and intelligence-driven strategies, calling these results historic milestones. In international news, Iran's representative to the UN Security Council is accusing the United States of having waged a war against his country under what he called a fabricated and absurd pretext. Ambassador Amir Saeed Iravani told the Council that Iran reserves the right to defend itself against what he described as blatant U.S. aggression, adding that the timing, nature, and scale of any Iranian response will be decided by its armed forces. He also accused Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, of dragging America into another costly and baseless war, calling the actions of both the U.S. and Israel a flagrant breach of international law. Iravani rejected claims that Iran was close to acquiring a nuclear weapon, labeling this a deceitful and false narrative. That concludes your news update for today. I'm Amanda Mitchell for New Era TT Radio and M&E TV. The Breakfast Show with Wendell, Richard, and Sir Charles continues right after this short break.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
The only question I have for you is how you find your play going so far?
I was gobsmacked, to say the least. Very glad that I came to see it and can't wait for the next stop.
Very nice, lovely, yes. I could do it again.
I think the parade is fantastic, and I actually told my husband tonight that I think this is one of the most hilarious and phenomenal ones yet.
Love that.
So I was dying of laughter, and the plot is creative and fun, so I just think it's awesome.
I find it has a twist, and it raises a game changer, right?
Right.
It's a game changer, so it's a plus.
How was the show tonight?
Oh, it was fantastic. We got fabulous actors.
Yes, we do.
It was a fabulous night. My husband laughed very loud. It was exciting.
It was excellent. I must say it was a refreshing look at real life aspect of a marriage. I find it was excellently portrayed, I must say.
It was really exciting. I laughed a lot. And the story was really, really good. The principles, that they talk about and share with us, it was really good to see they put that in humor, with humor.
Have you heard? The hilarious adult comedy Married and Mischievous is coming to an end. No. Where are the last shows? I'll tell you. Port of Spain. Final 2 shows at Queen's Hall on Friday, July 4th and Saturday, July 5th at 8:30 p.m. And our absolutely last show is on Sunday, July 6th in Sapa, San Fernando. Tickets available in all usual outlets in North and South. Don't miss the comedy that everybody is raving about. Check RSRR Productions Theatre on social media. And remember, strictly adults only. It's a bacchanal. S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
All right, so this is where we, our closing minutes, where we close off on the breakfast show for this morning. And of course, we want to say thank you to all of you for joining us this morning. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us and speak with us and listen to us and listen to the conversations that we had with several people this morning. Some interesting conversations, Wendell.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I guess, the status quo, as you mean, that's the most I could say, and I
you
saw
seem
that
to be
happening.
getting,
I saw that happening, but that's Penelope Beckles has gotten the team, if based on all that we have seen and heard so far, the team that she wants to work with. And let's see how they work.
Hopefully we can see if we can get Penelope Beckles-Robinson to speak with us tomorrow. And so I know Wendell will work on that assiduously.
I will.
To see who we can get from the winning candidates. Of course, she was unopposed. She would have won anyway.
Yes.
As political leader. So the posts will now be aligned, political leader and opposition leader. So this is where we end the breakfast show this morning. Have a fantastic day.
Before you end, Richard, Charmin did confirm it is her in the ad.
She did.
With the pashmina across her shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is her. It is her. She say. So Charmin laughs non-stop. So anytime Charmin, as I say, starts a message, she is already laughing. So good morning, Charmin, and as I said, you sounded a lot better this morning, and I'm happy for that. And folks, thanks for keeping the chat as vibrant and as respectful as you have been doing the last few programs. Keep it going, right? Thank you.
All right, so have a fantastic day, whatever you do. Remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health. Of course, New Era TT Radio continues with its stream on newerattradio.com and, of course, on TuneIn, where you can listen to us on your smart devices. Just look for New Era TT Radio. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do.
This has been The Breakfast Show.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The Breakfast Show got the vibes turned on.